coming out here to work on the 65 and finish up a few things on the interior and just kind of look the car over. Plans changed. We got a shipment from Scat. Check this out. So we got our crankshaft. Let's go ahead and get this thing opened up. This is a Scat 9000 3/4 crankshaft. So it's a stroker crank for a 302. That's gonna work perfect for what we're trying to do because, I mean, at the most this car may have 100 shot on it or something like that in the 347. For any of you guys that are maybe just running NA or just a little bit of boost, you know, you're not going crazy, 5-6 pounds, this right here is gonna be great for you. And they're relatively inexpensive. A crankshaft like this, it's gonna run you around 300 bucks. Come on guys, you can't beat that. And it's stronger than your stock 302 crankshaft. I wanna say thank you to Scat for getting involved in this build. That really helps us out and gets us going. Maybe we can work together in the future on some other stuff. Now we gotta go over here and start tearing this engine down. Shining like a diamond ring. My boy Ron hooked it up just last week. Couple of beers, now my paint on fleek. Creeping down your street, candy painted dreams. Lights bouncing off the hood, it looks mean. You know what I mean? We live it up, no time to sleep. Foot heavy on the pedal, yes he sounds me. All right, we got her pulled down. Let's flip it over. Everything looked great. All the main bearings looked perfect. Rod bearings looked perfect. It was just the one thrust bearing. So let's flip this thing over and look at the cylinders. This was a very, very tight engine whenever we put it together. So I think we're probably really good. There was no smoking issues or anything like that. This thing didn't use oil. It looks good though. All right, so here's our old crankshaft. And here's the issue that we had. The thrust bearing ate into the crank. And I know you guys can't really see it, but that is a huge gap right there where this thing has worn into it. Here, this is what it's supposed to look like. It's supposed to be completely smooth and flat. So from the edge, you can see right there. That's what it's supposed to look like. And that's what that one looked like. So anyway, it's the same crankshaft. There again is a Scat 9000. As you can see here, exact same crank. Everything else looked wonderful. The cylinders looked good. The pistons looked good. The cam, heads, everything was great, which the engine ran great. I had no clue that we even had an issue. All the bearings, you can see the bearings are still in there. Every bearing is still in great shape. I'm standing out here and I'm having a hard time deciding, y'all. I don't know which one I like the best. I don't guess I have to pick a favorite. I love them both. They're both, you know, completely different cars. But I don't know. Berger, I think he picks the retro over everything, right?
Yeah, I like the retro.
He likes the retro. I do too.
I don't know. Like you said, they both got their own
Anyway, down in the comments below, let me know which one is your favorite. The Poop Coupe, we got it over here. You know, I mean, it could be a contender as well. I don't know. And an old 65, which is a little different, but 65 sitting over here looking sexy too, though. We got to give her a little bit of love. Look at her. Ooh, woo!
something.
Yeah, that's probably why they painted it.
Yeah.
It looks like doo-doo. All right, y'all, we're gonna work on this thing and see what we can come up with.
Mustangs on the scene, heads cam intake, deep cam hitting hard, flow match screen heavy, 302 stock block handles, business steady. 5 on the streets, ain't nothing to fuck with. Going through the hood, got the whole town locked. Heads turning cam, bumping slicks working. Mustangs on the streets, we gon' make them hate us. Whoa, and down the block.
I want to take a second to show you guys the difference that gasket matching can make. So these are 1262R-5s. Here's a stock intake And as you can tell, it's not even close. That's massive. And that's pretty much even all the way across. I could take a little bit more material out in the throat, but I'm probably not gonna go crazy with that. That's at least it on the outside edge compared to there again, that. So big difference. And these gaskets fit perfectly on these heads. I've got actually one already on the head here. And as you can see, it's an exact match almost. So that should help out some. You know, don't expect any drastic differences by gasket matching, but I will say this though, I do believe that's what makes an engine. You know, some of those engines that just run really good, like the Poop Coupe for what it is, all that stuff's gasket matched. So yeah, check out all the metal. This is just one side of the intake. Yeah, that's all the metal right there from just one side of the intake. So John, what do you think? You gonna make a difference?
Yeah, it's gonna be a hog now.
Yeah.
You can see where it was hitting it before.
Mm-hmm.
How big of a difference?
Yeah, it's gonna make a difference. We'll go in and probably refine it a little bit, but yeah, that's crazy at the material. And it's still all over everywhere down here, all on the couch. So I want to try to save all this stuff and put it in a jar just to show how much just gasket matching can do. We got our heads cleaned up, we got the intake ported, and we just went ahead and painted the block, cleaned the block, all that type stuff. So I'm gonna turn the camera around and show you what we got here. This is gonna be a good looking little motor. Tomorrow the oil pan will be in for it, pickup tube, and pretty much everything that we need for the 347 to go into the 65. We also talked to the machine shop, so Southern Performance, he actually stopped by today and said it'd probably be middle of next week. So it's Tuesday right now, so probably somewhere around Wednesday or Thursday of next week, we should have the engine back. So next weekend, we're probably gonna try to throw this thing in the 65. Anyway, with that being said, let's take a look at it. We did manage to clean up the intake and just basically sprayed some cast aluminum over the top of it. I thought about clear coating it, but typically it doesn't hold up anyway, so we'll probably just leave it like this for now. We'll just touch it up every once in a while. Polish out the heads. Berger had a fit about that, so he said we had to polish the heads out. So went ahead and just polished those. They're gonna get all stained up anyway. Cleaned the block out. Everything looks good. Ron came over today, like I said. He kind of looked at the cylinders, said, yeah, cylinders look fine. She'll be able to throw this thing back together. So he's gonna balance the rotating assembly on this and get it back to us, and we're gonna slap this thing together with the TKX. So if you guys don't know, the 65 will have the TKX in it. Other than that, we've been just working on this car, trying to get all the little creaks and rattles and everything else out. We have driven this thing probably 15 times, like up and down the street, you know, go to the store. It is such a fun car and an easy car to drive. I can't stay out of it. I absolutely love it. The little 289 is running great. Probably should have taken you guys for a ride. We'll try to get a couple hits in with the car to kind of show you the power. It's about the way I remember it. You know, let's be honest, we were talking about it earlier. We've been spoiled with all these new cars and high horsepower and everything else. But back in 94, 95, 96, when I was driving this car, it was pretty tough. Now, you know, it doesn't compare to a supercharged car or something like that. But I think it's running pretty close to what it was back in the day. It's weird because the little engine was smoking, And then we didn't know what was going on with it. Had a misfire, had all this stuff. We worked through all that, and then all of a sudden it just stopped smoking, and it started to run great. I guess it just needed to run, to be honest with you. The old 65 has come so far, y'all. I just absolutely love this car. Can't stay out of it. We're gonna go ahead, wrap this video up. And as always, thanks for watching. So let's talk about the setup and why we're doing it the way we're doing it. I know a lot of people probably ask, man, why would you waste the money on a Scat 9000 and a dart block? So here's the deal. Let's back up first. This setup, this rotating assembly came out of a good friend of mine, Justin's car, and it split the block. So we took everything from him and put it in here. He gave it to us, okay? So of course we're gonna use it, and huge shout out to Justin for doing that, man. That was about, what, 4 years ago now, and it was a game changer for the channel because, you know, having this setup allowed us to really take things to the next level. It allowed us to build our first stroker motor on the channel, which performed great. And all of this is gonna be going into the 65, the Gray Ghost. At the most, this thing will have 100 shot of nitrous on it. We don't need a $700, $800 crankshaft. We don't need that. We just need something that's going to make some good power. Now, I guess you could always argue the fact that, well, that's kind of overkill for a dart block and you're wasting a good dart block. Maybe, I guess you could say that. But remember, we always have this engine setup, this dart block. It can come out later and it can be a 363 with all forged internals, supercharged nitrous turbo. It can be whatever. You have to understand, on this channel we go through phases. Things change a lot. So we'll have the 347 in this car, and then before you know it, we may have the 393 over there in the 65. So expect changes on the channel. That's why we do things like this. Plus we experiment. And anyway, we're going to take this tomorrow to the machine shop, and I'll take you guys along for the ride. I'll show you. We're going to Southern Performance, which is who we use around here. We're in Dothan, Alabama, so if you guys are local, give Ron a shout. If you guys don't know, these are Trick Flow 11R twisted wedge heads. They're the 205cc heads, extremely good street head. If you guys want one of the best street heads out there, I recommend these heads right here. You know, AFR is always great as well, but I do really like these heads. I know a lot of people have questions about the camshaft in the car. This is an Extreme Energy XE274HR, and we got the specs on that. So it's good for from 22 to 6200. Intake duration is 224. Exhaust is 232. Lift, where's the lift at? It is a 555, 565 lift. It's an extremely good camshaft for street use. I'm sure all of you guys have watched Richard Holdner by now. Richard believes in these camshafts. He loves them. So I said, you know what? They make really good power. I've seen them on the dyno. That's what we're going to run. So as of right now, that's the camshaft that's going to be in this car. Unless Donnie B over at Anderson Motorsport gets some N91s in stock. Or N71. We want this thing to be rowdy. We really do. But still drivable. So stay tuned on the cam. We'll see what we can come up with on that. But anyway, we'll see you guys tomorrow at the machine shop.